All right, joining us now to react, author of Tell Your Children the Truth About Marijuana, Mental Illness, and Violence, Alex Berenson. It's great to have you on tonight. This is a tricky one, as President Trump explains. I like the business owner because he sort of really encapsulates what went wrong with the whole system. You wanted to legalize it so that you could tax it, but then it became a situation where those folks who were applying for licenses and trying to do it the right way, they weren't making money in the industry, and actually they felt like they kind of got, attacked or penalized. And then all these illegal shops popped up, and, now there's marijuana all over the place, so I'm not surprised that the poisonings for kids are doubling because there's more access to it. What happens next, Alex?
Well, I think really it's up to the President of the United States, and it's nice to know he's thinking about this seriously. I think personally this is not a question of whether we're going to send adults to jail or prison for using cannabis. That no one thinks we should do that. And frankly, almost nobody thinks we should even, criminalize the industry powerfully. I mean, I'm talking about a street dealer or something like that. Those folks are not going to jail, and everybody agrees about that. The question is, are we going to have a big legalized industry that's going to promote the use of this drug, which is clearly dangerous for kids, young adults, and which, in its really high potency forms, can cause a lot of problems for adults too. And, the president, I think, is well aware of the potential risks here. And I don't think it's his job to bail out a bunch of people who thought they were going to get rich selling pot. That is, that was a speculative investment. It's gone terribly. It's going to go terribly even if he deschedules it, reduces it from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3, because there's still going to be a very large illicit cannabis industry, and the regulated industry is going to have a hard time competing with that. And just one more thought on that, which is that in California, which there's a huge cannabis market. The regulated industry can't compete, and they're essentially begging for bailouts from the state. So this idea that that there's some bucket of gold here if we would just reschedule is not true.
Alex, I worry that we're past the point of no return in terms of the acceptance of cannabis use, the use of products with THC in them, and you've written about this, but I'll just note one statistic, that for even one psychotic episode following cannabis use is associated with a 50%, almost 50% chance of somebody developing schizophrenia or bipolar disorder. That is worse than any other substance. Amphetamines, LSD, hallucinogens, psilocybin, opioids, and alcohol. And then at the same time, Alex, we sit back and watch a shooter murder people down the street right here in Midtown Manhattan. A shooter, also mentally ill, murder people, including a child in Austin, Texas, at a Target. A shooter murder a cop outside the CDC. All mentally ill. Why? Why are they mentally ill?
I can't speak to the Manhattan or to the Atlanta case or the Austin case, but I can tell you that in the case of the Las Vegas shooter, the NFL shooter, there is a clear connection to his cannabis use. His mother, when she called 911, and I've written about this on my Substack, told the Las Vegas police he is using cannabis and he is very depressed and he has a gun. I don't think that we should be promoting the use of a substance that definitely causes psychosis in some people. And I think there should be very clear warnings about this in every state where it's legal. And if you have any kind of sort of paranoid episode, much less a psychotic episode, after using, you should be strongly discouraged from using. I don't think that's that should not be a controversial point. But the industry, because so much of the legalized industry depends on heavy users who often do have, either an addictive problem with cannabis use or are sometimes becoming psychotic, becoming paranoid. They don't want to discourage those people from using. And so sometimes they'll say, well, try this strain or try something with a little more CBD. The fact is, this is a dangerous drug for a lot of people, obviously not for everybody, but it is a dangerous drug. And when I wrote Tell Your Children, that was 6 years ago. I do think people are starting to see this, but it's very slow, unfortunately.
The only reason I raise those issues, Alex, because people say, mental health problems, and they don't dig in like you do, Alex Berenson. Great to see you.
Thanks, Dagan. Thanks, Jackie.
Great to see you. Up next.